Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück in der antiken Stadt und wir sind hier gerade noch im Apollon-Tempel und haben mit Lucretia in der letzten Folge geredet. Und wir haben so ein paar neue Hinweise gefunden. Was ist denn aktuell der letzte Atemzug? Etwas stimmt am Apollon-Schrein nicht. Versuche Decius zu überreden, das Silphiumharz auszuhändigen. Das war nämlich das, weswegen die Julia nicht geheilt werden konnte, weil er es nämlich zu überteuerten Preisen angeboten hat. Und jetzt reden wir mal mit ihm. Wie das... so.
How'd you do?
Na, wie geht's denn uns?
Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Decius. Terrible shame what happened to Julia, but we just have to carry on, don't
Wow,
we?
war alles nicht so wild. Ich bräuchte ein bisschen von dem Silphiumharz.
Certainly. All I ask is a reasonable price of 1,000 denarii.
Ja, so viel Geld. Ja, woher soll ich denn das nehmen?
That's hardly my concern. But if you get a job, work hard and save your coins, you should be able to afford it within, say, 5 years?
Ja, das ist... Ja, ihr macht lebensrettende Medikamente fast unbezahlbar. Was stimmt nicht mit euch?
Oh, it's perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply and demand, I'm afraid. Take it or leave it.
Hä? Flüstern? Ich nehme an. Hä? Habt ihr das gehört?
Hear what?
Egal.
You sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps you should pay a visit to Lucretia's clinic. We don't want another Navier on our hands.
Ne. Oh, was ist denn mit ihr passiert?
She claimed the statue was whispering to her. Nobody else could hear it. Then she shut herself in the palace and we never heard from her again. But I digress. Do you want this Silphium or not?
So viel Geld habe ich nicht.
Very well. Perhaps I can interest you in something within your budget?
Was ist denn eure Geschichte?
You mean, how did I end up here? That is a lengthy tale.
Ah, ich höre.
All right. Well, you see, I'm in the business of procuring rare and precious objects liberated from the enemies of Rome. Mostly sculptures, vases, the occasional slave. Fetch a magnificent price in Roman high society. Had myself a nice little shop in Rome just off the Forum. Lots of foot traffic and close to the docks. Good place to be when the fires broke out. See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, open to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing for a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done.
Ihr habt den Wagen gewählt, richtig?
Of course I chose the cart. I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl, if I still have my money. So I put my hand on the cart, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the Tiber.
Also habt ihr sie schließlich doch mitgenommen, ja, unfreiwillig dann.
No, I dived in after it, of course. Aren't you paying attention? That was a bloody fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my head or something, because everything went black. When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank not far from here with nothing in the world but a single silver coin.
Ja, okay, klingt, als hättet ihr bekommen, was ihr verdient habt.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, sure, I'd lost a few thousand denarii, but I've already made it back, and this place is a veritable treasure trove. Look around you. There must be more gold in here than in the treasury of Rome. If I can just figure out how to get it out of here.
Ihr wisst dann anscheinend nicht, wie man rauskommt.
I'm afraid not. If you're desperate, I did hear that Aurelia down at the tavern claims to know of a way out, but I'm not sure I trust her. Some people here are a little shady for my liking.
Ja, das ist mir auch ist mir noch gar nicht aufgefallen.
Oh yeah, gotta watch out. Audacious has got
Ja,
your back,
danke. Danke dafür. Was haltet ihr denn von der goldenen Regel? Ist wahrscheinlich eine ganz gute Möglichkeit, hier Geld zu verdienen.
though. It's terrible for inflation is what it is. There's so much gold just lying around, it's practically worthless. At least down here. Of course, I have an idea for generating real wealth, but what I need is a bow. Just a simple composite bow. I've scoured this city from top to bottom with no luck. But if you happen to find one, bring it to me and we'll talk.
Einen Bogen erhalten. Hat der Magistrat nicht ein Waffenverbot erlassen?
Oh, well, technically yes, but that just means you'll need to be a little discreet.
Ach so, ja. Mal gucken, ne?
Thank you, friend.
Wem werdet ihr denn eure Stimme geben?
Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he have of protecting us?
Das ist irgendwie, das sagen irgendwie alle. Das ist, ich möchte, dass ihr Sentius wählt, aber da wird wahrscheinlich ein bisschen Geld mit dem Spiel sein.
Not gonna happen.
Ah, schade. Okay, tschüss.
Very well. Another time.
Oppius der Dieb hat meinen Geldbeutel gestohlen und ich... Okay. Schon wieder.
Get out of here.
Ich werde versuchen, euch zu führen. Die Statuen wollen auf jeden Fall was. Nee, wir lassen das lieber mal. Fremdling.
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
Das ist Equitia. Was ist denn eure Geschichte?
Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're
Yep.
from. I suppose it's quite
Don't you just
charming
love
in its own
springtime?
way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply
Hey,
march up
hey.
to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, what is your story?
Ja, tut mir leid, was hätte ich denn machen sollen?
The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office, by which time you would already know how to address me. And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change.
Das ist vor allem für mich auch ein bisschen, besser. Ja, wie seid denn ihr hier gelandet?
You know, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here?
Eine junge Frau namens Karen hat mich Karen, das ist vielleicht angenehmer für sie, hat mich bewusstlos aus einem Fluss gezogen und mich dann hierher geschickt.
Karen, you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you.
Es ist ein älterer Name, aber dort, wo ich herkomme, nicht ungewöhnlich. Da, wo ich herkomme, hat eine negative Konnotation.
Why is that?
Wegen der Memes.
The memes? What are the memes?
Wegen der Memes. Ein Meme ist ein kleines Bild, das man mit anderen Menschen teilt. Sie sind ein bisschen wie eine eigene Sprache geworden.
So, a bit like Egyptian hieroglyphs then?
Ja.
So your people make hieroglyphics depicting this accursed character, the one they call Karen. I wonder if... No.
Was? Spuckt's aus, ne? Was wollt ihr sagen?
I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just that you've got me thinking. Have you spoken with any of the others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember and see if you notice
Das Muster habe ich schon gefunden. Ihr seid etwas zurückhaltend. Also, ich habe es ja schon gemacht, deswegen frage ich direkt.
I know. don't want to see what happened to Livia happen to you too.
Vergiftung. Nee, das war jemand anderes. Ich hab's nicht so mit den Namen. Das ist richtig ein Problem jetzt hier. Mir ist eventuell bereits ein Muster aufgefallen.
You have? Then what is it?
Manche sprachen von einem Fluss.
Yes. I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. What else?
Manche sprachen von einer Münze außerdem.
Yes. I suppose that could be something. But then most of us do tend to carry coins on our person, don't we? What else?
Ja, das ist bisher alles.
There are definitely some common threads there. But I think we'll need at least a few to ensure we're not just seeing coincidences.
Das ist empirisches Denken.
Asking people how they wound up here. I don't want us to rush to any conclusions yet. Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind and dictates we should be sure. Yes, you should ask the others first.
Wer läuft denn hier immer uns... was ist denn mit Livia jetzt? Jetzt haben wir die Option nicht mehr. Schade. Wisst ihr, wie man hier rauskommt?
I don't, I'm afraid. It seems to me we're exiled here until the gods judge us, one way or another.
Was haltet ihr denn von der goldenen Regel?
I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We asked for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But here, it seems they require much more of us. I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is rather long.
Das können wir, glaube ich, mal mitnehmen.
Wonderful. It goes like this. Baucis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town. One night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door, asking for a place to stay the night. Of course, being vagrants, they're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all, until finally they come to the little cottage where Baucis and Philemon lived. Now the kind old couple had very little to offer, but nevertheless, they invite these strangers into their house and offer them food, wine, and a place to stay. Immediately the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Baucis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic. Realizing only a select few possess such powers, says to her husband, Philemon, "I think these men are gods in disguise." Immediately the couple begins apologizing for offering such coarse wine, and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and Mercury, the trickster god. They confide they didn't mind the meager offerings. They were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test, but everyone else in this city failed, so we are going to destroy this place and everyone in it, except you, who we will grant a wish." So old Baucis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is for eternity together. Meanwhile, Jupiter carries through with his threat and wipes that city off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves.
Oder vielleicht liegt es daran, dass die Götter euch in jedem Moment töten können, weil ihr ihren Test nicht bestanden habt und sie müssen euch nicht einmal sagen, wie die Regeln lauten.
A cynic philosopher might take that view, but it's not entirely invalid, I suppose.
Ja, wie läuft denn die Wahl, um jetzt mal zur Realpolitik zu kommen?
It must be completed by dusk, just the same as any other official business. It'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Malleolus, the challenger. Why do you ask?
Ja, wir haben da so ein bisschen politische Spielchen am Laufen. Wir Wer darf denn wählen?
All of the male citizens who are willing and able to attend, unless they're running, of course.
Die Frauen dürfen nicht wählen. Ja, okay, das ist nicht so erstaunlich.
That's just the way it's always been, I'm afraid. It never sat right with me, either. There are some women who can vote, Vestal priestesses like myself, but in this case, given my role overseeing the election, I've decided to abstain. I can't allow the perception that I'm being anything but fair and independent, but if it's any consolation, there are other ways to influence the outcome of an election.
Wie geht denn das? Nur so aus Interesse.
By using whatever gifts the gods gave you. Nothing untoward, of course.
Ja, okay, danke. Was ist denn eure Aufgabe während der Wahl? Überwacht das irgendwie?
I'm responsible for announcing it and making sure the procedures are followed.
Wahlleiter, okay. Kann ich denn einen anderen Kandidaten vorschlagen? Geht das?
You can, assuming they're eligible and willing to accept the nomination.
Können wir nun mit der Wahl beginnen? Jetzt sofort. Lasst uns mal über was anderes reden.
Certainly.
Ich habe die Leute gefragt, wie sie hergekommen sind.
And did you notice anything? A pattern?
Hey, das hatten wir schon.
Livia's.
Okay, dann gehe ich jetzt
Come
mal.
back to me once you've acquainted yourself with the rest of our neighbors.
Hello?
Was denn mit dem hier?
Hello?
Ja, okay, wisst ihr, wie man hier rauskommt? Der ist halt auch noch in einem Käfig. Bisschen eine doofe Frage, aber okay, was ist denn erstmal eure Geschichte?
My name's Dooley. I live here now because I got in trouble and they said they had to lock me up.
Was habt ihr denn getan? Das ist sehr deprimierend.
I don't know. I don't remember things so good. I think it's just because I was looking for treasure.
Also seid ihr ein Dieb, oder wie?
No! I would never! I'm good!
Ist das alles?
They said I did it. More than once. But I can't remember things so good. Then they called me mean names. They called me a liar, Billy.
Eine lästige Pflicht?
Yes. They said I have to live here now. And gave me this letter. But I'm not good with words. Do you think you could read it for me?
Ja, gib mal her einfach. Magistrat Sentius erklärt, dass Dooley eingesperrt wurde, damit er keinen Einbruch begeht. Gegenstand nehmen.
What does it say?
Hier steht, dass sie euch mehrmals beim Einbruch erwischt und eingesperrt haben, um euch davon abzuhalten, die goldene Regel zu brechen.
My treasure.
Welcher Schatz denn?
My friend Hannibal used to look after me. He said he always would. But then, he died. It was very sad. He said, if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious hidden away. He gave me this key and made me promise to keep it safe until I found the treasure. But I couldn't find it. All I remember is he said something about assistance. But when I went up to the high one, they put me in here. Now nobody looks after me. Except my friend Galerius. And Ek, the priestess lady. She's a nice lady.
Wenn ihr mir den Schlüssel gebt, kann ich versuchen herauszufinden, was er aufschließt.
Hannibal said I shouldn't give it to anyone I didn't trust. But maybe you could help me get out of here.
Okay.
Then I would trust you a lot.
Lasst mich mit dem Magistrat drüber reden, euch hier rauszuholen.
Galerius already tried that. He said the magistrate wouldn't listen, no matter what.
Okay, weiß ich jetzt nicht. Vielleicht. Das mit der Wahl weiß ich nicht so richtig und das mit ihm hier rausholen, das.
What about the rules? I don't want everyone to get in trouble because I was bad. Like Galerius. He's nice. I like Galerius. He made me a doll and everything. If you help make him magistrate, he can get me out of here, and I can give you the key to my treasure. Hannibal said it was in the cisterns. I can't remember what it was, just that it was way up high and very precious.
Ich werde sehen, was ich tun kann. Ja, wisst ihr denn, wie man hier rauskommt, so allgemein, jetzt nicht aus dieser Zelle?
You're going to let me out of here? Really?
Ja, das habe ich aber nicht gefragt, genau. Jetzt bin ich selber verwirrt.
Oh. Please. I hate it here. It makes me very sad.
Was haltet ihr denn von der goldenen Regel?
Gold? You mean treasure?
Reden wir über euren Schatz.
My friend Hannibal used to look after.
Ah, das kennen wir. Okay. Ich gehe jetzt mal.
Bye bye.
Ein Kleptomane. Wahrscheinlich oder vielleicht auch nicht. Letzter Atemzug. Ach, das ist noch das hier, okay. Oh, wir haben schon viel zu tun. Ich glaube, ich gehe mal tatsächlich erst. Ich gehe mal das hier. Die Quest sagt, ich muss das machen. Folgt dem Magistrat.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Okay.
Please grant us your protection.
Das war ein Fehler. Ciao. Ich renne. Ich renne. Ich bin falsch. Wo muss ich denn hin? Oh nein. Oh nein, oh nein, oh nein. Oh nein. Oh nein. Magistrat Centius. Keine Gegend. Und ab ins Stargate. Oh, P, das kommt aber früh. Loop, okay. Folge Magistrat zurück zum Schrein und gehe erneut durch sein Portal. Moment, das haben wir doch gerade gemacht. Moment, der Magistrat weiß hiervon Bescheid, oder wie? Wir haben doch auch vorher gelogen. Ah ja, genau. Moin.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me...
Okay, das kennen wir. Ich bin Stephanus und wir hatten diese Unterhaltung bereits.
I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life.
Ihr seid Galerius und werdet mir gleich anbieten, mich zu Sentius zu bringen, damit er mir über die goldene Regel erzählen kann.
Oh, I guess how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you.
Kein Problem, ich muss gehen. Tschüss.
Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it.
Ein rudimentärer Seil. Oh, perfekt. Das haben wir doch vermisst in der
Just
letzten
attach the
Folge.
pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking.
Ihr seid ein guter...
And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. Probably.
Okay, danke.
All right.
Das ist...
See you around.
Das ist, und... Hab ich das jetzt? Hier müsste es doch... Seilrutsche. Okay. So, was ist hier los? Nichts stehlen, niemanden verletzen. Nicht, wer immer dies schrieb, hat offensichtlich keine Chance, es fertigzustellen. Das kennen wir irgendwoher.
Don't you just love springtime?
Ja, sehr schön im Frühling hier. Okay. Hier unten in der Taverne, da... Wir machen jetzt erstmal das eine fertig. Wir gehen jetzt zu... Gib Lucretia Silphiumharz, bevor Julia stirbt. Jetzt müssen wir um Silphium gelangen, bevor Julia stirbt. Okay, das ist hier nicht. Ah, hier. Hier waren wir ja schon mal.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called Silphium, but that Culas Cobolates Decius won't give it to me.
Ich habe Silphiumharz. Hier, nehmt ein wenig.
What? Quick, give it here. Julia, you need to swallow this.
Ach, wir haben das mitgenommen. Wir haben das mitgenommen, ja. Ist natürlich... Okay, damit können wir auf jeden Fall die Schleifen durchbrechen.
Hopefully in a moment she should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing? And at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle?
Ehrlich, ihr würdet mir nicht glauben, wenn ich es euch sagen würde.
Look, if you don't want to tell me, I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. But no matter. That was like the gods hearing my prayers and intervening. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her, and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need.
Ja, haben wir ja alles schon gesprochen.
That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Julia's life.
Klar, kein
Apollo
Problem.
Smiles upon you.
Mache ich immer. Oh, ihr geht's ja schon besser. Na, Julia, wie geht's? Nicht gut.
Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest.
Ja, könnt ihr mir denn sagen, was denn passiert ist?
As much as I'm grateful that you tried to help me, it's just not safe for me to talk about it. Please, no more questions.
Ja, ich würde aber trotzdem gerne wissen, wie man euch vergiften konnte, ohne die goldene Regel zu brechen. Also, trotzdem.
The golden rule. That's the least of my worries. The gods may be cruel, but Malleolus and Claudia are far crueler.
Was ist denn mit denen? Haben die euch vergiftet?
Please, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it.
Ja, okay. Ich kann euch nicht helfen, wenn ihr mir nicht sagt, was geschehen ist.
Persistent as Nemesis, aren't you? I can tell you, but it's a long saga.
Ach, ich hab Zeit. Ich hab alle Zeit dafür und das stimmt tatsächlich.
All right. I'd been here about a week when it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did.
Ich sehe da was ganz anderes aufziehen. So ein bisschen, Geschäft mit der Angst. Warum sollte euch denn so viel leihen?
I had to sign an agreement, saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here soon it wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia. And she gave me her so-called way out. Do you want to know what it was? Hemlock.
Oh nein, was?
Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only, he didn't seem upset or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her.
Ja.
And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning.
Das hätte doch sicherlich die goldene Regel gebrochen.
That's what I said to the magistrate. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear. I'd signed over my labor for 30 years and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit, I'd break the golden rule. And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa, confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She set me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour slop on it and hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock.
Ich verstehe.
I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it.
Ja, es tut mir leid, das zu hören.
I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met. and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid.
Wie geht es denn jetzt für euch weiter?
When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right back where I started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course.
Kann ich irgendwie helfen? Ich habe jetzt ja auch quasi unnötigerweise gerettet.
I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Ich habe eine bessere Idee. Wie viel würde es kosten, eure Freiheit zu erkaufen?
A lot. But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him.
Vielleicht kann ich ihm ja auch
I doubt you
helfen.
could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are, or why you seem so determined to help me, but thank you.
Ich werde sehen, was ich tun
All
kann.
right, but please don't take too long.
Na okay, die Geschichte noch, dann wissen wir...
You mean my life
Yeah.
story? Oh, well, I grew up as part of a big family in Rome. Me and 3 older sisters. Our father found good husbands for my sisters, but I wasn't cut out for that kind of life. So he found me a job as a scribe for a prominent merchant. It was a good life for a while, until 7 months ago when the fires came. My colleagues and I worked desperately to try to protect our warehouse. We must have had 100 workers passing buckets of water, chanting prayers to Vulcan, but they fell on deaf ears. The fire was relentless and it claimed everything and everyone. Well, almost everyone. My employer told me to grab what valuables I could and flee for the Tiber with the crowds. I remember diving into the river and then... the next thing I knew, I was waking up on the riverbank not far from here. Thank you. But to be honest, sometimes I think dying in that fire might have been a blessing, given what's happened since.
Ich verstehe. Okay.
All right. Thank you again for saving my life.
Und da sind wir ein weiteres Mal hier in dieser Stube, aber diesmal konnten wir tatsächlich das Leben der, wie heißt sie, der Julia tatsächlich retten. Und wir haben jetzt sogar bessere Hinweise darauf, was hier auch an Machenschaften im Hintergrund abgeht. Aber das, wie das jetzt weitergeht und wie sich das jetzt auch weiterentwickelt, ob wir den Ulpius, heißt er, glaube ich, retten können, das sehen wir in der nächsten Folge. Bis dahin, Salve und auf Wiedersehen.